Work is also the journey. It really is. And I think we all know that you can create amazing things for a brief that is fake, like people used to do for winning awards and stuff. I think that's easy. The difficult thing is to make these brave ideas survive the process and really make it to the real world.
What do you think the difference is between sort of brands that survive a short period of time and brands that live on for a long time? I mean, like the Tate is sort of this living, breathing entity that hasn't that you set up and has just kept going for decades.
Lots of brands really last a long time, and sometimes they change and you get disappointed because you think, wow, why are you doing that? It's still very it's very relevant, but sometimes it's to do with a change also of direction in the client side, and they have a new team and they want to make their mark, or they put a vision in place, and that's absolutely natural. We have identities as well and strong voices, and they come through the work. I wouldn't say that we are neutral. I think it's a good thing that you can, I think people come to you because they want something that is done in a certain way. I don't mean in a style, but there's some kind of way of thinking or seeing the world that they identify with.
Mm.
And it's only natural that your identity comes through. But I think you need to also be able to put yourself behind the scenes and make sure it's the right thing. We always try to do the brand journey in a very strategic way, and work with the client really closely to understand what is the need, the problem, why we are doing a brand in the first place, and to do what is really an expression of that unique need and client. So it create a voice that really reflects them and not me, for example, or our team. So in doing that, we're always careful also not to do something that just happens to be trendy. I think we all are influenced by each other's work and the times we live in. And we know there are behaviors that are of our times, and that's fine. And we always try to estimate or foresee what's coming. But at the same time, I think we see that there are certain tricks that are just trendy or fashionable, and they don't last, and they're not perhaps meaningful if you're trying to reflect something that is ongoing.
I mean, I love the one thought you said there that you try to sort of reflect what the client is and where the client is, and not sort of enforce your perspective or your view on it. How do you two-part question? How do you get that out of the clients? Because I think great briefs are not never given; they're always taken. What the client writes down and what you extract are very, very different. And how do you balance extracting that and then also feeding in your experience, because you've seen and built and been involved in so many more projects than they have, so they don't necessarily have the I wouldn't say the language, but the deep understanding of the craft of branding to be able to feed you those right things.
But I think the way to do it is always to really listen a lot and try to understand what you're meant to do and what can make a difference to that client, and then go from there. And then your accumulation of thoughts and ideas and ingredients as such comes to place to create this language or system. And it has to be seen very much as a system, not broken parts, but where everything is like orchestrated with each other. So sometimes you create a brand that is completely led by imagery only. Sometimes you create a brand that is very verbal. Sometimes it's much more about the typography and the expression of that voice there. They have so many different ways. One thing is that we know is that brands are so much more participative. Otherwise, they don't make it anymore because of the way that we interact like this, that everyone participates much more in decisions and knowing what's going on. And, it's very hard there's nowhere to hide. So I think it's important that we create systems that are open and easy to flex and to accommodate audiences as they participate in what you've created.
Can you share a little bit about how you design these open systems that allow participation? Because it definitely is. We live in this era where it's almost like design and brand critiques has become a public thing, where it used to be quite a small group of people discussing it and the majority of people not really even noticing. It's now almost an event that happens when a big entity changes its logo. So how do you build that openness into the work that you do?
Of course, it depends very much on the type of client, but more and more when we work with clients which are very uh, led by a cause, they also want to reflect what they do in the language and it makes sense. So, for example, we try to always understand the role that that brand is and that company or organization plays in the world. So, is this company like a catalyst for change, or is this company a very strong leading force, a strong voice, like, for example, when we did the brand for Amnesty International, they are fighters, they are leaders. So you have to create an idea that is very, that has a leading thought. Other brands are very
Mm,
much about opening up and creating spaces, which is very common. You know, we see a lot of designs that are like adaptable now. But I think we shouldn't just do adaptable for the sake of it. We should understand the role that each organization plays and why that brand, what kind of openness is it. So for example, we are doing a brand, we just did one for the, I think I mentioned to you before, we've been working with this the front line of the Great Green Wall in Africa. So they're building this incredible planting trees across 11 countries, just sub-Saharan kind of region. And so we needed to create a system where all these different voices could participate, and it's open and it's always changing. We're doing another one, which is a small NGO like, which promotes a lot of these social changes and projects of that kind. But they are a group of people who it's a small group, but they try to help, advise, consult, instigate. So we are creating a different type of open brand for that. We try to understand, how do you do it? How do you just open up the debate, or do you give more leadership, or do you kickstart things, or do you see what I mean? Or you were really an endorsement
mm,
kind of organization. The work is also the journey. It really is, and I think we all know that you can create amazing things for, you know, a brief that is uh, fake, like people used to do for winning awards and stuff. I think that's easy. The difficult thing is to make these brave ideas survive the process and really make it to the real world. So I think what is constant is there are a lot of arts and culture, and the more you do, the more you kind of are able to create other things or win other work. And then there is a lot of NGOs, because I think we really want to work with such things. I think the world is so messed up that, for example, today we're going to do is, this is a pro bono project that we're doing we're creating an identity for they're creating a memorial. It's like a slave memorial in and the Gambia, and that is a living memorial. It's such a beautiful, important thing after what happened in the last years. As you know, we need to make these things much more, visible, and so yeah, I think it's
mm,
difficult not to uh, prioritize projects like that, because it's such an important, life is really not taken for granted anymore, right? And we have to appreciate and try to use what we our skills to perhaps do a little bit. So these projects always have a real. It's very exciting. You also meet amazing people, like you said. You get this window to incredible minds that are doing things which are so much more important than what we do, actually.
Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes, I'm the founder of Nicework, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.